Alright, welcome back to Super Dead Ri- I'm not even going to try and say the name. In this video, we will be playing as Annie in all of her costumes, minus the second costume, because again, I'm not doing those, because they're pretty much just the regular costume with something different. Like, it's just Annie in a schoolgirl uniform, you know, Nick in a tuxedo, Chuck in his Terror is Reality uniform, Frank in a Servbot mask. It's just not worth showing it off.
I totally got this.
Ready, go!
So this is weird, huh? Playing as a female in a Dead Rising game. Annie's first costume is actually pretty good, especially in these, like, hey, destroy the bomb, destroy the, you know, whatever missions, because all she has to do is just shoot them. Although past that, I don't really like the Annie costume, because it's not great at, like, taking out zombies. As you can see. She plays a lot like, kind of like Chris Redfield in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where all of his attacks are gun-based, which I'm not a big fan of. I'd rather have a melee weapon or something. So Annie isn't one of my favorite characters, however she does have my favorite costume in the game. At least one of my favorite costumes in the game. I do like her B attack, which is her just kind of like sliding around. There are certain characters that I think are really terrible when it comes to these kinds of missions. Like, Frank has a lot of weapons that are not good, or a lot of costumes that are really not good for, like, the, hey, destroy the bomb missions. Because a lot of his costumes, his attacks kind of take him all over the place. There's one in particular that's really bad. I think Frank is like the only character that really has that problem.
Destroy the next bomb.
I will say, I think the one thing that I wish that they had done in this DLC is given more maps. Like, there's only 4 levels, and they're all based on Dead Rising 3. I think it would have been cool if they could have done, like, alright, here's a level based on the Willamette Parkview Mall. Here's a level based on Fortune City. You know, hey, maybe even here's a level based on the Phenotrans facility from Case West. Or the small town from Case Zero. I forget the name. But it would have been cool if they could have done something like that. Also, yeah, Annie, her attack is pretty amazing. Her super attack is amazing for taking out, like, certain things. And I thought there was a window there, but there was not. And yeah, who would have thought playing Dead Rising 2 back in, like, 2008 or 9 or 10 or whenever that game came out, and now you'd be playing as Annie. Or Katie, sorry. Yeah, it's very odd. Very odd that you got to see her A, grow up, and then eventually, you know, B, get to play as her. That was weird. She was just like, I'm just gonna shoot the air, because I feel like it. But yeah, I think more better map variety would have been good, and more better does not make sense. Come on, Annie, you're supposed to be the daughter of Chuck Green, motocross star. Drive your motorcycle better. Oh well. So this is where we fought, what's his name, Kick? His name was definitely Kick. He was, Envy. And you can, aim Annie's attack here.
Not bad.
See, her name is Katie, but I keep calling her Annie. Because that's what she's technically considered in this. Like, in Super Ultra, whatever this game's called, she's called Annie and not Katie. Granted, she's called Annie Green, but it's not, you know, her full name. Her full name is Katie Ann Green. And some characters do have bigger, like, super bars. Like, she has 4, whereas Nick had, like, 3. It depends on the costume, really. I find the characters with more bars are usually better to play as. And that's it for Annie, at least normal Annie. And it's pretty much just like, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Round 2, kill the zombies.
Lock and load.
Ready?
So this is my favorite Annie costume, at least in terms of aesthetics, because this is Regina from Dino Crisis, a series that I enjoy. I've only played the first game, but it is a good game. It's literally just Resident Evil with dinosaurs. And Regina is a costume that comes up in a few Capcom games. Like, for instance, Jill has a Regina costume in Resident Evil 3. Yeah. Dino Crisis is just another one of those series that Capcom has kind of forgotten about. This mission's pretty easy. Literally all you have to do is just kill 8 zombies and then you're good. And again, I said this in the first video, but the best way to get like S ranks and stuff is to not just do the objective. It's to, I skipped one guy, by the way. I didn't see him somehow. He's right behind me. But don't just go do the objective. Like, don't just go run to these 8 guys. Kill a lot of zombies. That is the best way to get points, and that's the best way to get S ranks. So that is what I recommend. A lot of Annie's costumes do seem to be fairly, like, gun-based. And yeah, I like her super attack. I like how a pterodactyl comes down. That was a joke, by the way. I know that the P is silent. That was the joke. And of course you can aim. Most characters have different ways of attacking. Like, every button pretty much does a different attack. Like, the face buttons, besides A, that's jump, but X, Y, and B are all attack buttons. And then the right trigger is also an attack button. Sometimes it's just like, if you press X, you'll do a few attacks and one combo. But if you press B, you'll go right to the strong attack in the combo. Or same with like the trigger. And Y, I usually feel, is kind of like the stronger attack. So that's kind of like how this game is. That's how most of the characters are. Sometimes you'll have like every button is a completely unique attack. But I think that's fairly rare for the costumes in this game. Another thing I wish this game did, I've been talking about this since, I think you can even hear me say it in one of the off-the-record videos. There's still no Beautiful Joe costume. Poor Beautiful Joe. He'll probably never get another game. Very, very disappointing. Anyway, the last guy is over here. I don't know if it's true. I feel like I take more hits when I'm playing as Regina, or Annie. But I feel like she's weaker than other characters. I don't know for sure.
Regina wins.
And again, all the characters have specific, like, end-of-the-level music, which is really neat. I like that they actually decided to do that, instead of just put one song at the end.
Bonus round, run 'em down.
It's my turn now.
This is the worst bonus round in the entire game. I hate this, because it's a top-down thing, and you have to kill 20 bikers. I think I've been able to complete this once. And you've got way too much time, and this sucks. It really sucks. So I know I have no chance of beating this, but you have to wait, 76, 75 seconds before it's over. It is just a mess. It wouldn't be so bad if it was like a normal perspective on this car, and I understand that's what they're going for. It's a retro thing. This is supposed to, you know, celebrate like arcade games and, you know, just other Capcom games, but this is bad and they should feel bad. Seriously, if this was a normal perspective, all these guys would probably be dead already. Because I'd know exactly where I'm driving, instead of just having these, you know, markers on the top of the screen of, hey, this is the sort of the direction that they're in. And this is just where it goes nuts for me, because I get stuck here. And I was like, maybe I'll have a chance to do this, but then I was like, no, I just hit that building for no reason. Because the turning is not great. So at this point, I just gave up. Well, I gave up the minute this minigame started, because it's always been very difficult for me, but, you know. And this is also a costume I do not like. It is from a game series I've never heard of, and it is not even that useful.
Round 4. Retrieve the vehicles.
Let's get going then, shall we?
Ready, go!
So this costume is unique in that it can heal itself. The Y button is actually a heal button, and that's about all that this is good for. And I do believe this is the first retrieve the vehicles mission. This one is very lenient, they give you a lot of time, but there's one later on down the road that I really don't like. The way I usually like to do this is go in some sort of an order. You know, I like to go get the ones on this side first, and the ones on the other side. Instead of, you know, I'll go get that one, and then the one on the other side, and then, why not, I'll go back to that side again, and then this one, and then that one. Because that's not a great way to do it. And the other reason I don't like this costume is because it's very weak. Like, the attacks are not good at all. And that's the little heal attack there. Well, it's not an attack, it's just you heal yourself. I don't think it, like, takes anything away or anything. You can do it as many times as you want. So it's a little OP, but I think the trade-off is that the costume sucks. As I'm going to just demonstrate right here, this costume sucks. I'm going to try and take out these bikers. It's going to take like a minute. Like, this is bad. This costume is not good. If I was playing as anyone else, these bikers would already be dead. Also, I do like how I was able to take them away in a tornado. It's the little things sometimes. You gotta take the little victories when you can. If I can make a biker go away in a tornado, I'll take it, you know? And I have plenty of time here. This is why I'm actually wasting time doing this, because I've got plenty of time in this mission. You should never time out in this mission. And yeah, that is why this costume is bad, and Annie should feel bad.
Return to the garage.
They'll usually give you a ramp when you get on a vehicle like this, and you can pick up the Yashiki there. And if you were to flip over on this, it wouldn't like automatically flip it back. You'd actually have to go back and get the vehicle, which is really screwed up in one specific mission down the road. No pun intended. Because vehicles, roads, get it? It's a funny joke. I like to go for the one that's the farthest away first, because then you won't have to get the ones that are closer and then go out of your way, like when the timer's running down, to get the one that's really far away. I wouldn't even say her super attack is really all that good. Like, it clears out enemies, but I don't know, I feel like it's not that great. Again, want to avoid the tofu tank. The only tanks that we want to get are the S-tanks, which are, of course, based on E-tanks from Mega Man.
Return to the garage.
Again, they'll give you a ramp here. If we can go over it. That was way too slow. Vin Diesel's watching this video, and he's face-palming because he wanted to go fast. He wanted to go too fast, too furious. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. He was the fast of us. He was the best of us. So over here, we just have an ambulance over by the hospital. Go figure. And again, we've got over 2 minutes to finish this, and we've got one more after this. So it's really not that big a deal.
Vehicle retrieved.
This last one can be like, if it's your first time playing this and maybe you've never, you know, explored this area before, this one can be a little hard to find. It might look like it's on this floor, but it's not. You actually have to go up and then through this door over here. So it's a little tricksy. And again, just go forward as soon as you get in this. It'll put you in the right direction, and that could kind of dick you over sometimes. If you like hit that other building, or if you land not the correct way, you'll flip over and then have to do it again. And if you're on a tight, you know, time limit, it can be kind of a dick move. And that's exactly why I don't like one specific vehicle retrieval mission later on in the game. And that's that for my least favorite of the Annie costumes. Not very good, not a fan of this one. Again, it doesn't help that it's a game I know nothing about.
I'll take you on.
And now we have my favorite Annie costume, and probably my second favorite costume in the game, Chun-Li. Chun-Li is a really great costume, and it's a very good kind of, I guess, companion costume to Nick's Ryu. And it's weird that there's two Street Fighter costumes.
Defeat the Super Zombie.
But anyway, all the attacks you would expect from Chun-Li. This is one of the better, I'd say, super moves. It's fun to look at, it's fun to do, and it clears enemies like you wouldn't believe. And it of course helps that she has a lot of, you know, super bars. Sounds like a food, doesn't it? But anyway, most of the final levels will have you deal with a boss of some sort. The first one we saw was a super boss. This one's gonna, super zombie, sorry. This one's going to, switch it up a little bit. Also, I love doing this kick attack. If you don't have to worry about the giant zombie guy, I love going into a group of zombies and just kicking them, because they'll all usually just run into your legs. As I'm assuming many fanboys would probably run into Chun-Li's legs.
Maximum health.
That sounded a lot more sexual than I wanted it to sound, but I'll take it.
Charged up.
So yeah, the catch here is that you have two super zombies to deal with instead of one. Two super zombies can be a little annoying just because of that attack where they kind of crouch down. I don't know, they can throw you around a lot. I'd say the best thing to really deal with the super zombies is just the super attack. And of course, best strategy is get in between them and then do the attacks. Because obviously you'll do the most damage to both of them then. This isn't one of my favorite levels in the game, the Central City level, the one that this whole video has been. But it's alright, you know. The next two are probably my two favorites. And it also so happens I'll be doing my two favorite levels as my two favorite characters. Can we get him before the thing runs out? Yes. I do believe it all happened at the same time. So come on, zombies. Walk into my legs. Again, Zenny Bonanza. Why did I pronounce it that way? That was odd. You have a good enough time before the mission ends here, so you can collect those and kick some zombies. And that is it for Katie / Annie Green, or Katie Ann Green, as Chuck would say. Katie Ann Green. She's not one of my favorite characters, but she has a really great Chun-Li costume. And I'm just talking characters to play as. She's not one of my favorites, because I actually do like Annie in the story. And again, it takes about 1,000,000 points to get an S rank, so let's see if we accomplished that. It's like, of course we accomplished that. I'm good at video games. I'm pretty much like the best. So, see you next time for Chuck Green.